I want to say that Trump is likely holding ACES in reserve. That might be an obvious statement, too. I mean, where pretty much anybody would. I think that if anything happened to him, he knows information on Obama and Hillary Clinton, and it's going to be released. And I don't think it's information that has been publicly released yet. It's just a conjecture on my part, but I'm pretty sure of that because of, well, it's a hunch. It's more than a hunch. This guy's not stupid. I found it almost incredulous at first that this guy was legit because I never worked for anybody that was like a billionaire directly. I've been accounting for people with like $100 million or more, and I've worked on projects that were over $1 billion. In aggregate when you combine all the projects put together in construction, with hundreds of millions of dollars of bank loans as the main accountant, doing controller services. But I've never worked for somebody like him directly, and um, so I mean I couldn't comment on the character of people that are billionaires, but I can comment on the character of a lot of people that are of good high wealth that they will play like they're patriotic and they're not. They're really all about money. If they're patriotic, as long as the money's there. And well, you know what? That's pretty much obviously the case with most people that are billionaires, because most people that are billionaires are globalists. They will sell us down the river, no problem, in a blink of an eye, to enrich themselves. Now, with Trump, I have noticed, I was picking up that I know he's been inconsistent on political issues like crazy over the years, which got me really wondering about what the deal was with him, why he wants to be president. And I know he said he loved the Clintons and all that kind of crap back in the past, but he could have just been bullshitting about that. I know everybody that's a billionaire is a wheeler dealer. They're card players, poker players, and they got to play games. I mean, left and right. I mean, that's just how it is. I shouldn't. I'm not working for nobody right now, so I don't really. I could just talk. Um, so I mean, I'm not working for anybody that's like this. I'm working in a CPA firm sometimes. But the thing is, with him, he's like a guy that he's been actually consistent on America First. He's been talking about the unfair trade practices and the deals we're making with Japan back in the 70s. How we're getting our asses handed to us and all this kind of garbage. He has been consistent with that. But on other social issues and a lot of things, he's been very liberal. He talked about even he was even pro partial birth abortion. He said that once. I don't know if he meant it or he was just talking, in front of somebody, not politically, just yeah, it could be. I don't know. I don't know what he's probably just freaking winging it when he was talking. I don't know what the hell he was doing back then, but he has been all over the place on the issues over the years. So, I had my I well, I look at it right now. I'm seeing, it's obvious that all the top Republicans are talking about let's vote for Hillary. Let's have Hillary Clinton be president instead of Donald Trump. And the only reason they're doing this is because the only guy that's not a globalist is Donald Trump. And I don't want to wear that word out, globalist, but really what it means anybody over here that lives in the United States, whether they're rich, poor, no matter what race, creed, color, religion, whatever the hell they are, what part of the country comes from, he wants to keep the fruits of our labor and our money being spent here in the United States. And you can't argue with that shit. On us citizens. Okay? Us USA people, right? That's where he's been consistent with, and the globalists want to sell us out down the river for their own personal profit. And because they want to they want to run us like a bunch of dictators, basically. Um, I think, like with Trump, though, he's got so many aces up his sleeve still, and let's assume he gets the nomination. It's hard to say because You know, maybe they're trying to push Cruz ahead or something, but he ain't gonna take that lying down. I knew Ron Paul was lame right from the beginning, and I was saying that shit back when he was running. You know, you saw Ron Paul get cheated out of primaries, and his people are like saying, "Fight! You got to fight this," and he goes, "Oh no, no, no." Because basically he's one of the damn Republican, you know, party members all the way. You know, if that was Trump being cheated the way he was being, that Ron Paul was, Trump would have been, hey, you know, I'm going to take care of business. I'm going to freaking fight this all the way. So when you see him fighting in a primary like this, you can figure he's going to fight against the bullshit if he gets in the office. But the problem is, I don't know if he's going to make it to there, but if something happens to him, I think he's got a lot of aces on stuff that is going to be released that nobody knows about yet. I would assume so. I hope nothing happens to him. I hope not. I hope he's got his own bodyguards. He doesn't rely on that damn Secret Service. You know, I mean, the Secret Service is really good, but you don't know. It could only take one guy in here that's a you know, a turncoat bullshit garbage to set somebody up. You're better off having your own people. But as far as if he makes it to the election time and he's the candidate and say Hillary's the candidate, because Bernie's not fighting Hillary hard enough. He probably could slam her, but he's afraid of probably saying too much, and then he'll wind up having a plane crash or something like JFK Jr. But you know, Trump. I mean, if Bernie, it's, you know, say it's Trump versus Hillary. Trump's going to start pulling out some more stuff on her, and she's going to wish she was being indicted by the FBI. That's what I think is going to happen. As a matter of fact, you know, and if she tries to come back at him, the more she pisses him off, the more he's going to come at her. That's the type of guy he is. He's like a nice guy until you piss him off. Probably that's what the deal is. That's what it seems to be. But, you know, I'm going to tell you this. No matter what happens in this election, I ain't worried about whatever happens. If, you know, if the American people actually do vote for Hillary Clinton, I don't think they will, though, unless it's a real massive voter fraud. But if they actually did vote for her, I'm going to say, well, good, you got what you deserved. No problem. And I consider myself to be independent as possible. Now, that could be anything, though. I mean, I could do whatever I want. I mean, I got a lot of talents in a lot of different areas. I can go right back and doing accounting full time, make a lot more money, and do whatever the hell I want. I mean, I got the world. I can do anything I want anyway. The thing is that I have to say this: I do have a lot of discipline. So, you know, I'm not worried about nothing. No matter what outcome comes out, because I know I stand on my own 2 feet. I know, like, some people saw my videos, they saw, like, me from a few years ago. I was a lot skinnier than I am now, and I was skinnier than that before. But before that, I was heavier than I am now. And I'll give you an example. If I want to pour it on and I decide I want to do something, I dropped like 85 pounds in 5 months and a week back in 2007. And that was from working out 3 hours a day every day. And I continued to work out 3 hours a day every day, 365 days a week for the next 4 years, and I was still the same weight, with below 10% body fat. And you know, before I ever got on YouTube, actually. So that tells you a little bit about my mind. If I would, you know, I got discipline. And you know, in a lot of different ways. I mean, I can brag about a lot of bullshit, but then, you know, it gets in a pissing contest, and I ain't gonna do that. But anyway, but you know, it's like I'm not, you know, and that's what I think you ought to be thinking too. No matter what happens with this election, we do not live in a dictatorship. We do not live in a society where the fate of the whole country is dependent upon one man. Because, say Donald Trump is a saint, you know, he's only going to be in office so long, or even if he is a saint, and even if he's a saint, he ain't going to be perfect. You know, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. That's what this country stands for, number one. Everybody stands on their own 2 feet, We give the power to the government doesn't give the power to us, and we stand for the Bill of Rights, and we protect the Bill of Rights for our fellow citizens too, against any kind of enemies, foreign and domestic. That's the true mission of the military. So anyway, I just want to tell you this, that Trump is probably holding a lot of aces, I think. I wish I could tell you for sure, but if you might be thinking the same thing yourself. He's probably got a lot of aces. I've never seen this really discussed anywhere. I know, like, I have not newspaper articles from like the 90s, back when the Clinton scandals were all coming out. I still got them. I got them all in this plastic, in this big, they're plastic sheet, like the, what do you call those things? Little cellophane folder things, and then they're in this big plastic bin. They're not like on a computer. This is before the internet was around. There's a lot of dirt on the Clintons that people don't know about publicly. A lot. A shitload. And I'm sure there's a lot more beyond that that maybe Trump knows. And I think Trump knows all of Obama's school records. There's probably a lot of garbage going on here behind the scenes still. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I mean, it was, I can't remember this too well. It's kind of fuzzy, but there was a trip that Bill Clinton made with a few other people to Finland back in his college days, I think it was, before the Cold War was over with, fully, because that, I think the Berlin Wall came down in, November 87, I believe it was. And he and somebody else, his KGB handler, this is what it was at the time, from Finland, went to Moscow in the dead of winter. And he said it was a vacation trip. The guy's a Marxist operative to the max, man. And nobody believes that shit. I think it's too cloak and dagger, right-wing conspiracy talk. But I don't know. The thing is, I don't have all this stuff referenced, like with all these intelligence people. Like Christopher Story was his pen name from British intelligence. That wasn't his real name. I forgot the guy his name, but there's a lot of people I've also had with Anatoly Golitsyn. He was writing a lot on this stuff too back then, way back when. He was working with the Marine Corps up till, I think, past 2000, around that time too. Don't want to digress on this, but there's a lot of information out there that's never hit the internet that even I've seen. I don't know if I can reference it again, and I don't know if I want to put it on the internet. But there's a lot of wild stuff out there that makes the movies sound crazy. I actually seen things in the financial world that makes the movie sound crazy. But I know a little bit about the environment that Trump has done business in, because before I worked for Hart's Mountain, the Stern family in New York, in New Jersey, right across from the river from New York. They're actually based in New York City and New Jersey, the New York metropolitan area, in construction. And I guess that's all I want to say about that. But I understand a little bit about, there's a lot of competitiveness in the field. And I actually did see something where Donald Trump was talking in 2005 to Congress about various buildings and construction that was going on in New York. And I was watching this 55-minute presentation on YouTube, Tim just rattling off all these different square footage numbers and all these contracts. And I was like, this guy's smarter than anybody I ever worked for. Holy shit. And I worked for some pretty smart people, because I used to wonder, how the hell does this guy remember this shit? I got all these spreadsheets and stuff trying to keep track of all this crap, and this guy's got it right in his head. So he's smart. And Hillary's got brain damage. So there's going to be no contest when it comes to the actual, if it's Trump versus Hillary. I think, even though the media is going to be on her side, it's going to be, he's going to go right for the jugular, and he's going to use some of those aces. But I think if anything happens to him, there's going to be a flood of aces coming out against Hillary and Obama, And I think it's big time in their interest that nothing does happen to him. You know, he's not Scalia. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Now I'm putting this video out here. I'm going on the edge a little bit maybe, but I'm not going over the edge. I'm hopefully okay. But there's a lot of stuff even I've seen, and God, I wish I could say, but you know, I hate to say this, but you know, on the internet, the biggest thing that attracts the most attention is giddy rumors. I'm not into that game. It seems that that's an unfortunate thing with human nature, but it looks like Trump is holding a lot of aces, and they'll all come out if anything comes to anything happens to him. And if nothing happens to him, he's going to use a few of those aces during the election if he's running against Hillary. And I think Hillary's going to wind up finding out that, you know, she's never really been in a serious political contest in her life. You know, she would have been running against JFK Jr. if his plane didn't crash. And, you know, she would have lost that handily, no problem. And she got appointed to the Secretary of State by Obama as some kind of deal. So where the hell did she ever run for office? It's going to be a joke, man. It's going to be a joke. You could say Trump never ran for office too, but the guy he's a shark, man. He knows how to wheel and deal. You know, if he's been telling the Clintons all these years they're great and I love you and I think you're wonderful people and all that kind of shit, and now he's changing 180 degrees. Either he was lying back then or he's lying now. I was thinking maybe he was lying now and he's pulling a Ross Perot. That's what I thought originally. But then, you know, it turns out I guess he was lying back then. So he was pulling their chain for years because he figured, what the hell, you know, why piss him off, right? I just want to make money. I don't need enemies. That's what he's probably doing the whole damn time. You don't want to screw with this guy. But it's not just that. He's the only guy I ever heard of that's anywhere near his money that's this patriotic. None of them are. All the rest of the people that are anywhere, I mean, way less money than him. You know, not even a billion. Like, I mean, that's a lot of money to have $50 million or $100 million. That's a hell of a lot of money. But these other people that talk like they're patriotic, it's called total quality lip service. With Trump, he probably is I think he's the real deal. I'm beginning to think he's the real deal, man. I mean, he's not going to be perfect, but like I said, you know, we as Americans stand on our own 2 feet. We don't need to have somebody save our ass, and we don't need to have all our future dependent upon who's elected. That's what our country's about, man. Stand on your own 2 feet, man. No problem, right? You could do it. You could do it. And if everybody does that, the country's going to get straightened out one way or the other, regardless of who's elected. Problem is, you know, we got a lot of people trying to elect people because who's going to give them the most benefits. But Trump ain't going to cut no benefits, I don't think, locally. He's going to cut benefits to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. You know, $150 billion going over to Iran for what? You know? Tell me how many social programs are being costing $150 billion. You know, I don't know what the hell's costing that kind of money. I don't think he's going to touch anything with social programs unless it's going to somebody that don't live here. You know, it's not us. It's not us. He's nationalistic. He's our guy, man. You know. So, but he ain't gonna. You know. But just remember, you know, stand on your own 2 feet, and I think no matter what the situation is, he's got a bunch of aces. They're coming out one way or the other, and if anything happens to them, they're all coming out. And just beware of this. So, if there's some other billionaire that comes out and plays the game like Trump, don't trust it, because I never heard of anybody in his anywhere near his money that was patriotic. I never heard of it. That's why I was finding it hard to believe with this guy. He's rare. In other words, there's only one. There's only one. Him. You know, it's almost like that crap where Lindsey Williams had the guy, what's that, the oil guy that was telling them all the secrets. Then the next guy came in and said, "Oh, I got to tell you the secrets," and he was a liar, right? Well, the original guy is the one you trust. Anybody that comes in and tries to play copycat, no. Just like when Anatoly Golitsyn defected from the KGB in Russia as a major, other people came in after him to try to discredit him. To say, "Oh no, the Russians are really doing this. Oh, they're doing that. They're doing this." He's the only one. He's the only one. So anyway, I think he's got a lot more aces up his sleeve that he ain't saying. And if you suspect that, you're in with what I'm thinking too. So um, it looks like as long as we realize he's the only one that's going to be like this, there's not going to be anybody else. And if Trump don't make it to the presidency, or something happens to him, or if he loses to Hillary Clinton due to massive voter fraud, or he gets screwed on a Republican primary, and he can't fix it, well, I'll tell you this: we're going to have to fix it by, you know, having a little bit of dissent against the bullshit and standing on our own 2 feet. That's just how it's going to have to be.